Hi, everybody. It's Miss Corbett here. It's about 1 p.m. on Wednesday, November 4th. I finished looking at all the work in Module 11, so it's time for our class notes video. So you did the evaluation peer review last week. Real quick, because of power outages that a lot of us had, I didn't take off points if your initial post was late. So if you posted a draft, you got those points. Just did away with that. But I was glad that a lot of us were able to post early enough that we could have a good conversation. And the feedback y'all gave each other looks really strong. Just a couple things to remind you of with this essay. First and foremost, make sure you're looking over the assignment sheet very carefully. Look over the rubric very carefully, just so you remember all the details, because there are a lot of them. Also, remember that the works cited page is included in your overall word count, so it's everything on the page. And make sure you're also including a library database source. Remember the ones we get by going to that LibGuide or going to the library search. Anything that's not a physical text that you get from the library counts as a library database source. So be sure to include those. You also did these works cited journals because we learned a little bit about citing. And I want to say a couple things about these. When grading your essays, I take the time to check each of your sources and all that kind of thing. I didn't do that here just in the interest of getting you feedback. So some of you, I didn't leave feedback for everybody. I kind of just left comments that were the most kind of the big things that stood out to me. But for some of you, that might mean no comments. I didn't give you any comments. And that doesn't necessarily mean everything's correct, right? If I haven't checked the sources, I can't be totally sure about all of that. But I do want to say just a few things about what I noticed overall as some issues. And to do that, I wanted to look at the example works cited journal entry. First, you saw the kind of gathering of all the different parts of the source. I asked you to do this because it's important to know what this information is before you figure out what order to go in. It's good to have these parts and then you can see maybe more clearly what goes where. But note also that in the source identifications, it's really important to talk about where the source comes from, an article from a website, a database article, something like that. Because when we're trying to figure out how to format citations, we have to start by saying, okay, what type of source is this? And that really depends for us on where you got it. If you did through Google and you landed on a website, well, that's an article from a website. If you got it through the library database, well, then that's a article in the library database. We have to know where you got it because that determines how the formatting is done. With the works cited pages themselves, keep a couple things in mind. Just know that before you even read a word of it, there's some things you can just glance at this page and know are correct that you'll want to be applying to your own. First, it's alphabetized and double spaced. And note that hanging indentation, the first line against the left-hand margin and all subsequent lines indented. It's the opposite of how we do a paragraph. So make sure you're doing all of those things correctly. You're also going to want to pay attention to the title formatting. For parts of larger works, like articles in a journal, the article is quotation marks, the journal and the database here are italicized. If it's here, you've got the title of the article and then the website is italicized. With TV shows, the episode would be quotation marks and the show itself is italicized. So for the movies that you're looking at, the title of the films should be italicized. The title of a website should be italicized, databases, all that kind of stuff. But the individual articles would get quotation marks. So make sure you're looking at that correctly. Make sure that you are following basic capitalization rules, kind of the formatting you're used to with capitalization. MLA follows standard capitalization rules. So even if, for instance, if you're looking at the article and they have the author's name in all caps, we don't do that on the works cited page. We follow conventional capitalization rules. So remember that when you are giving us the names of articles, we need to know where they came from, right? If you're giving us something you got from a database, then we need to know which database. All that information that you would have filled in up here is crucial. And if you don't have information, you skip it, but make sure it's because that information doesn't exist, not because you just haven't looked for it. All right. If you have questions either about my comments or about anything else, you're always welcome to email me about citations. I'm happy to help. Now let's talk about what we're doing in Module 12. As you know, you're going to be finishing up your evaluation essays. I know that's work and stuff you got to focus on, but at the same time, we have to move forward because we are running out of time. We have only a few weeks left. So while you're finishing up your evaluation essays and ultimately submitting them before the end of Module 12, we're also going to start talking about your next and final project. You're going to read about how to formulate a rhetorical problem, take a reading quiz, and then do this identifying problems discussion board. We're looking for, you'll start out by saying 5 aspects of KSU in which you are a stakeholder. So you are, in this fraternity, or you are a student worker at this place, whatever it is, right? And then 3 problems you notice for each category and talk about the ones that stand out to you the most. And then in the responses, you're going to be adding either a potential solution, or you're going to be adding one new potential solution for one of the problems the person highlighted. And it needs to be one that other people haven't covered already. Then you're going to look at our assignment sheet and the how-to guide. Again, remember how important these things are. From here on out, this is the assignment we'll be working on. So, next week when I say your essay, I'm going to be talking about this project. That's what I'm talking about. So you want to save these and have them, so you can easily get to them. And then you will take an assignment quiz. All right. As always, if you have any questions, just let me know. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you in Module 12. All right. Bye.